welcome back to another edition of Nain Short. Thank you for joining me. I'm sure you've already liked and subscribed. If you haven't, please do. Still don't know why, but it helps us out. It helps the channel and it lets us know that you guys actually enjoy and that there are people watching. So thank you very much for that. Before we start, once again, the 28th of January, that is Sunday, Cijo Johnny Oliva will be teaching at Twin Tiger Academy. A 4-hour seminar starts at 10 a.m. It's only $30. It is in Brentwood, so those of you in the area, it's close. For the rest of us, we will drive, but we will be there. It's a great time. Cijo is a phenomenal instructor and has a great sense of humor, but he keeps things on track. So you'll definitely learn a lot and see a lot. His t-shirt techniques, I believe some Kung Fu as well. But either way, it's going to be a great time. So stop on by, bring a lunch, but definitely be there. Put that on your calendar. All right. So recently we've been having a conversation about teaching methodology and what are we really producing to our students. And a story came up that I heard years ago. It was a prominent black belt. He was advancing very well. He was great at his craft. He was winning trophies left and right in tournaments. And needless to say, there was a lot of confidence in this young man. He found himself one evening in an altercation in a street fight. And from what I recall, he was doing well, but because of the way he trained, or maybe the way he's used to tournaments, at one point the upper hand was lost in his favor, and he ended up getting killed in that interaction. And when the instructor was asked in reference to not teaching him the differences between sports fighting and real life fighting or real altercation, he made mention something about, oh, that was going to be in the next part of the curriculum. And stories like that really resonate with me in the sense that I want to evaluate myself as an instructor and really ask the question, am I doing these students a disservice? Am I essentially teaching them to fail? Because we've had conversations about the idea of techniques, specific movements to a specific action. So this, specific response to, say, a straight right punch or a haymaker or a kick. But to make them work when you don't know what the person is actually going to do, there's modifications that have to happen. The way that it was taught may not necessarily work for you, your body type, or even the situation that you find yourself in. So how do we then bridge the gap without actually having the students just fight each other and see who survives? Because nowadays we can't really do that. And we generally want our students to return and actually learn more and expand on their knowledge. So we can't really go down that route. But we still have to get that sense somehow to get them to understand, hey, you learned it this way, now this is how you apply it. Because there is a difference. And if there isn't in your system, then your system is awesome because you're teaching them straight, flat, the way it needs to be and the way it's going to become when it's actually needed. Pure application. But not all systems are designed that way because we all know that there is a basis that needs to be there. There needs to be a foundation of skills, the basics that then require refinement, and then we can progress onto something more applicable. But when does that happen? When do we then cross that gap where we take some skill set, some new idea or concept or movement, and we take it to the point of application? And this question has really reframed the way that we teach, because now we do not teach the way we did even a year ago, precisely because of questions like this. So for us in our class, what came about was this idea, how do we get from point A to point B, B being application? Can they make it work in a chaotic situation where you don't know what the person is going to give you? You don't know if they're going to give you an angle 1, a 2, a 3, or 4. They're going to give you a kick, a right or left punch. But can you make that concept work in that moment? And ultimately, how do you go about doing that? So for us, we've reframed the class where we really only work on one thing in each class. We introduce it, we let the students drill it for a little bit, then we do dual practice where now we change the parameters, we add some sort of difference, so then they have to then again adapt what they just learned into something that changed. And then at the end of class, helmets, padded sticks, there you go, make it work. And we just tell both of the students to make it work and not tell each other who's doing what or who's feeding what. Just go, just hit each other and see what happens. And we keep going until the students show a degree of understanding where then they can perform that concept or that movement or that idea in real time without it being given to them. Because even that process of feeding somebody something, and we've talked about this before, but then we didn't take it to the degree of, okay, now we're really going to apply it into a student's learning. And especially with sticks, and I've seen it many times before, where the strikes are wide, they're big. They're intended to be that way because of safety issues. Because that hurts. And somebody's swinging a complete arc, yeah, even if you're not intending to hurt each other, you're going to get clipped. But at the same time, you're not aiming for anything. So when we do that, are we teaching our students to miss? And I've seen it in other schools where it's not weapon-based, where it is just empty hands, and students veer off to the left. And I'm not saying that that's what they're taught to do, but it seems to be a natural thing, especially for nice people, people that don't want to hurt others who are in that class, to learn how to protect themselves because they don't imagine themselves ever being the aggressors. So they want to understand violence well enough so they can protect themselves. And they naturally just miss. So when do we then make it a habit that becomes the reality? They can still be nice people, but when you swing to hit somebody's face. Swing to hit that shoulder. Swing to hit that arm, that elbow. And make it a habit to actually make contact. Rico, would you mind? For the visual aid of things. Hello. So, primarily you see people go like this. They swing wide. Which, for the idea of tracking somebody's hand, yeah, that's great. But you're not hitting anything. One of the things that we've really pushed upon our students is when you aim for the face. You're hitting the face. You're not going to learn how to stop short unless you're actually trying to hit something. There, nose, nose, nostril. Did that hurt?
No.
No, but visually,
this one.
yeah, it was there. So what happens then? How do we stay safe if that's what we're constantly doing? Especially a new student that has no control. Well, we put somebody in front of them. Now, both of us doing the same thing allows for there to be safety. We're clashing, not because we're intending to hit each other's sticks. That looks different. That looks like this. And you're missing the person completely. The point isn't to hit sticks. It's to hit the person in front of you. Because guess what? They're swinging a stick at you. And it's a simple concept, but I'm not trying to stop the stick. I'm trying to stop the person. The hand is attached to the person. So hitting that makes more sense. But if we can't get past this idea, then we're never going to reach this, where the CPU is, to turn it off so it doesn't keep coming back. Because sure, I might hurt this hand, but guess what? That hand is still alive. And again, it's a simple concept, but how quickly do we put this into the students? And then eventually it gets to the point where you don't know what the person is doing. I could just be swinging randomly, and that's it. But if he understands he needs to take care of whatever comes at him, then he's moving towards his goal. But it starts from the beginning, and it's one of those things that it seems small and quite nuanced, but it becomes such a big deal later on. Because now as we play, we're going for targets. I'm aiming for his hand, trying to take his knee out. Head. Trying to take his balls. Oh, he took my eye. Bastard. Now you're just fucking with me. You just started doing this, didn't you? Fucking shit. Yeah. So this is how him and I play, and this is what we're gearing our students to do. Not because we feel that, oh, this is the right way, simply because if you're not trying to hit anything, then when will you ever do? If that's not what you train, will that come out in real life? Will you all of a sudden in a high adrenaline situation realize, oh, I'm not supposed to swing up here where there's no stick. I'm supposed to hit the person. Now I'm supposed to hit vitals. Now I'm hitting specific spots to stop. I hit his knuckle. Because now he can't grip.
Maybe.
We'll see. Yeah, you're kind of a freak that way. But this is what this idea then becomes. And for us, I don't know, what have you been seeing in our students when we do it this way?
You know, at the end of every class, we talk about what did you learn to each individual students, and it's surprising to hear some of their comments, right?
Oh, yeah, dude. The last class we had, we ended with a multiple attack scenario. Everyone was wearing helmets. We weren't using any weapons against them. They had a padded stick. And to see these students at the beginning just freak out, and it was palpable. You could really see them just kind of swinging away and trying to do the best they can. But as they got comfortable with that fear, they were hitting targets. They were taking care of this person. All of a sudden they see a flash on one side and their stick just automatically gravitates to it. They take out the arm, take out the head, move on to the next thing. And the biggest thing that all of them said was, I was really scared.
Yeah, they felt that thing in their stomach. That
that oh shit moment.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things that it wasn't our intention to bring out, but because it did, they learned so much about themselves and what they're capable of doing in a situation where you have 3 people coming at you. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir.
Sure. Have fun.
And we've had situational kind of training concepts and conversations in the past, even on this show, but ultimately as a tool for teaching, when is it best used? Where is it best used? And how can you get the most out of it by using these tools and incorporate it into what we do? In no way are we trying to say that we're innovating anything to any degree of the word. As those of you who have watched the show know that I like studying beyond just the art, but the history behind things. And for those of you who are deep into martial arts know that the martial arts are rooted in so much history, thousands of years for some of them, and the people that came before, and the shoulders on which some of these instructors, some of these masters and grandmasters are standing on top of. There's so much that we just don't know because that's how much history there is. But diving back into a lot of the beginnings of many of these arts, that's sort of what we're emulating in the way that we're teaching. We're giving them, or doing our best to give these students something that is going to be viable at the end of the class. Not years down the road, not when they reach a certain level, but literally at the end of the class. Can you take what was shown to you at the beginning and use it? Because you don't know. And that's the mentality that we've come across when it came to teaching the natives, when the Filipinos knew they were going to be attacked, when they didn't have armies or forces. They just had people that, hey, can you swing a stick? Can you swing a sword? Can you swing a machete? Here's something that is going to help you today to be able to survive a fight. And that's what we're going to teach you. And if you survive tomorrow, we'll teach you something else. And so on and so on. Just something that's simple and practical. And don't get me wrong, that's not easy to do, especially when you're trying to maintain a school. That is incredibly difficult. I went to a seminar and I spoke to the instructor there. Great guy, phenomenal martial artist. And we had a conversation about this way of teaching. And he made mention that is a great way of teaching. But you're not going to make any money off of it. And it's true because we... I'm not going to get into the details of that, but it is very true, and I can attest to that myself. But then how to combine the two? How can we maintain a school open? Because ultimately we do have to keep our students engaged. Ultimately, we do see the numbers and the statistics of how many students drop out from the first year. There's that whole blue belt thing where so many people drop off around that level. You know, what is the reason behind it? There are so many theories behind it, and I'm sure there's a lot of valid information on the topic already. But for me, trying to become a better instructor, I feel that it's the way that we engage the students. Do we get them so excited about what they're learning that they can't wait to learn the next thing? Do they see themselves using what they're learning in such a way that it becomes useful to them, helpful to them, and they're hungry for more information? I'm one of those odd anomalies where I just kept coming back, regardless of what was being taught. Whether I knew what I was going to do with it or not, I kept coming back because I just love this. I love to learn, but not everybody is like that. So how do we engage those that aren't like that, but still want something good, something simple and viable for them to incorporate into their daily lives? Because for those of you who are lifelong martial artists, no, this isn't something we do. It is a part of us. It is a part of our lives, whether we're in the gym, whether we're in the dojo, whether we're in class or out on the street. It's there. And if we can get more people like that, I think we would be doing the public a service in that sense. So this is one of the ways that have really influenced the way that we teach and the way that I'm now learning to teach. And I would love to hear your notes on it. What do you do to get this sense from your students to incorporate their knowledge into application, and how quickly do you go about doing so? There are many pitfalls, I'm more than certain. Certain ages, you probably don't want to get them into application anywhere, anytime soon. But for those that are at that age, those that are ready, the ones that are sometimes most at risk, how do we bridge that gap safely, but more importantly, effectively enough that keeps them coming back to learn more? Because ultimately, that's how we're going to keep martial arts alive and how we're going to keep spreading it. So, just one of those thoughts. Thank you for joining me on another one of Nain's Shorts. I hope to see you on the next one. And as always, 3, 2, 1, cut!